Speakers, you're burning yourselves out on the doing, the applying more, posting more, networking more, pitching more, updating the website again, tweaking the bio again, trying to stay visible. And I get it. And I get it because I've been there and I've had clients who are speakers who've done it and doing all the doing and trying to get into the room. And let me be clear, I believe in the work. I do believe that it is important to show up doing the work. I believe that, it's important to be visible. I believe that, I believe in putting your name in the conversation. But here is what I want us to pause today to think about. Is all of that activity actually creating more aligned opportunities? Because from what I've seen, more activity does not always create more aligned activities or aligned opportunities. Sometimes it creates exhaustion. Sometimes it creates noise. And I know that because I've done that and I've been there and I've burnt myself out and I've had migraines and I had to figure out how to get rid of that. The migraines, that is. That was very difficult for me because I was doing so much. My calendar was just packed with connecting and being and doing. And so sometimes it puts your name in more rooms because you are clear on the position you actually want to build. And that's where a lot of talented speakers get stuck. Not because they're not gifted, not because they do not have something valuable to say, not because they are not working hard enough, but because they may be trying to solve a clarity problem with more activity. So today, during Lunch with Lena, we are talking about the opportunity you want may not be the problem. And the speaker brand code we are anchoring this conversation in is clarity before visibility. So come on in, say hello, tell me where you're watching from. And if you are catching the replay, still drop replay, just the word replay in the comments, because this conversation is for you too. Now, the real question, I believe, is where can I speak next is like top of mind. Like, where should I be speaking next? Or who can introduce me to the meeting planner or the event organizer? What event is accepting speakers? Like, these are the questions that we're asking ourselves. What stages should I apply for next? What should I post this week? What are some other questions? Are there not any bad questions? Like, none of these questions are bad, but they may not be the first questions that should be top of mind right now. How about, are the right buyers, event organizers, meeting planners, referral partners, and decision makers clear on what I should be known for? Are they clear on the problem I help solve? Are they clear on the audience I serve best? Are they clear on the kind of conversation my name belongs in? Are they clear on why I am the right fit for the opportunity that I say I want? Because it's not just about people knowing you, it is about the right people understanding you. That is totally different. And visibility means people can see you. Clarity means the right people can understand where you fit. And if the right people can see you, but still cannot clearly understand what you bring, why you matter, where you belong, then more visibility may not fix the problem. It may just make the confusion louder, as a matter of fact. So for those who are new to me, I'm Lena Castle, speaker brand strategist and founder of the Speaker Brand Code. I'm also the founder of the Professional Speakers Concierge Service. And through that work, I've had the opportunity to sit close to the speaker experience from more than one side. I've supported speakers behind the scenes, handling all the chaos and the speaker gifts and the experience that speakers should have ultimately when they come to an event experience. And I've worked with, various event organizers, AV production teams, and I've heard these different questions behind the scenes. I've seen what creates confidence before a speaker is booked. And I've also seen where really gifted speakers unintentionally create confusion. Not because they lack talent, not because they do not have a message, not because they have not accomplished enough, but because the way their speaker brand is showing up does not always make it easy for the right buyer, planner, organizer, or referral partner to understand where they fit, why they matter, or why they should be chosen as their guest speaker. And that is why today's speaker brand code matters. Speaker brand code number 1, clarity before visibility. Totally important. I got to pull up my comments. Hey there. I know you want to show up, otherwise you will not be known. Absolutely. Totally. So true. So true. Yeah. Speaker brand code number 1. Now, here's the thing. A lot of experienced speakers can feel stuck after doing all the things. They have the website, they have the bio, they have the reel, they have the stories, they have the expertise, they have the credentials, they have the PhD and the CMP, and they may even have past stages and past opportunities, but they are still wondering why the right opportunities are not connecting the way they hoped. And sometimes chasing more opportunities can distract you from the real question. And the question may not be, how do I get more people to see me? The right question may be, when the right people see me, do they clearly understand why I'm the right speaker? That's why clarity has to come before visibility, because visibility without clarity can create more movement, but not necessarily more alignment. Then you can continue with the rest of, thinking about how you want to impact different stages. Yeah. But more activity does not always create more aligned opportunities. Does that make sense? It feels like the doing feels like we're getting closer to where we want to go, but it's like it's not. Like not at all. Not at all. It's like it's doing busy work. And I am telling you, I've done it. I've seen it. I've experienced it. I tell you, I love the experience with the different speakers that I've worked with, because sometimes we think we know what we're doing. Sometimes. And then sometimes when we are trying to attract more stages, it's just coming off just as a lot of noise versus being more intentional on what it is that we're trying to accomplish. I know what it feels like to just be doing and running in circles and then not getting the other side of what we're looking for. Hey, Shannon. Oh my goodness. I love when a speaker, and I just had this experience just recently. I had a speaker who was interested in an opportunity. What I loved about their speaker website is they had everything there. So yes, we have an intake form to take everything in about the speaker and their interest in this opportunity. But on their speaker website, they had their, here's some of my headshots and lifestyle shots, whatever works best for the colors and brand colors for your event. Here's my media kit, which has all the high level details. Here's where my bio exists if you need to learn more about me. I just loved that it was so very easy to make the connection or to say, yes, this is the right person for this particular opportunity, because everything we had questions about, it was right there. It was right there. I can't stress it enough. Now, a lot of speakers are asking, where can I speak next and who can introduce me? What event is accepting speakers? And I get it. I know that those things are important. But if these people who are actually signing the checks don't fully understand, and they're the decision makers, and they're not clear on your branding and how you're going to help their audience, particularly solve a problem, because they have to be clear on how you serve their audience best. They have to be clear on why your name belongs in the room. And they have to be clear. So then what that also tells me is you need to make sure that you have an advocate who's talking on your behalf and saying, you know what, this I think would be a great fit. Because what I have learned about events and opportunities, it's all about your network. Speaking, nobody just speaks on someone's stage and they just randomly appeared. And if that does happen, that's a very sad. That's probably a very risky thing and sad thing to do, because then when a person steps on stage, you can tell that there might be some disconnect there. But a lot of times those who are getting these opportunities, they're on stages because they have different relationships. But, visibility, I think that sometimes we get so caught up in social media, like I need to be visible, I need to be posting, or it has to be about something. And if it's the right people who can see you and they can understand you, I think you can get closer to where you want to be in your speaking business. As long as you have a strategy, you have goals, though all those things are so very much important. Because here's the thing. A lot of experienced speakers still feel stuck after doing all the things, like after doing their speaker website, their bio, their speaker reel, like they got more credentials. They even have like past opportunities that they like, I've done this before, but they're still wondering like, why am I not connecting with the opportunities that I hoped for? Because I do believe chasing opportunities can distract you from what you really need to be doing. When the right people see you, do they clearly understand why you're the right speaker for the event? Clarity has to come before visibility, because I will say this again, visibility without clarity can create more movement, but not necessarily more alignment. I'll keep saying that. I'll just keep saying that. Because if we can get to a place where we're very clear on who we serve, the problem that we solve, the value that we add, I think that we can get somewhere with that. I really do. I really do. Now, when we think about the buyer, the person that is actually making the decision, who's signing the checks, who's signing the speaker agreement, the buyer's side and understanding their side is what also matters for you to think through that, because buyers are not just looking at whether you're talented. They're trying to answer questions very quickly. They're trying to answer questions like, do I understand what this speaker brings? Is this the right fit for our audience? Can I explain their value to the rest of my team who need to help make this decision? Does their brand support what they say they do? And your brand, as I said, is always speaking. It's always speaking. Every time you post, send an email, like your brand is always speaking. Now, does your website, your bio, your reel, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, and all of that, does all of that content give them confidence? And the other question that the buyers are asking is, would I trust them with this room? Would I feel comfortable referring them? Would I bring them back? And they're asking these questions before you even know that they're even interested. They're thinking about having you come in as their guest speaker, because these are confidence questions. And the clearer your speaker brand is, the easier it is for someone to build confidence in you before they have ever heard you even speak. So that's why I like to say that long before someone experiences your keynote, they have already experienced your brand. So I had a client, all the credentials, so much experience, especially in the corporate space. But when you looked across their materials from the website to their social media platforms, it was really hard to understand what she really wanted to be known for. Like, is the client A or is it client B? And sometimes we do have different avatars. But if it's not really clear up front who the audience who's going to receive this information to get the value, it's gonna make people click off really quickly. Like her bio had said one thing, which was just full of credentials and all of that. But their social media content itself was saying another. In the intensive, and Shannon, you'll be there. In the intensive, we'll talk about speaking lanes, because speaking lanes means I could be talking about, I'll use my best friend, Elaine. It might be burnout in corporate America. It could be readiness for the C-suite, or it could be something completely different. And sometimes the speaking lanes and the value that you add in a different lane may be completely different than another lane that you may have expertise in. So burnout and readiness, two different things, two different types of outcomes, but there's certain talks that you are communicating that, yeah, I can talk about this. I can interweave these things because I have the experience. You know, the client that I had, their website had different directions that they were trying to go in. They had their talk titles that were interesting, but they didn't clearly connect to one position. And again, this was not a talent issue. It was a clarity issue. And that's the kind of thing that can make a buyer pause. Have you ever had someone just pause? Oh, and I love that, Haim. We think in pictures. When you have a good story, you can take people to a movie, and a good movie makes the difference. I love that. I love that. Because, and that's the other thing, even when you think about storytelling and on stages, I think people really connect with how you create analogies, or, relating it to a movie or an experience. And I'm actually working on one of my talks right now for the admin professional conference that's coming up next month. And I'm like, I like to connect stories to movies, so that people can understand. Because if it's just in words, it can kind of be difficult to connect. But the last thing I ever want a buyer to do is pause. Not because the speaker cannot deliver, but because the buyer cannot easily explain why the speaker is the right fit, not only to themselves, but you have other people that have to say yes. It's not just most likely just one person, and most likely it's a team, especially if it's a paid opportunity. If it's not a paid opportunity, or it's less than maybe $5,000, maybe it's only the event organizer that's saying, these are going to be my speakers. And it's easier to kind of say, okay, I'm going to go with this person. But here is what I want you to sit with and ask yourself. If someone discovered you today and only had 5 minutes to look at your online presence, would they know what you should be booked for? Would they know what problem you help to solve? Would they know what audience you serve best? Would they know what conversation your name belongs in and it should be their stage? And drop a yes or no, or I'm not sure in the comments. Because I'm not sure is not failure, and no is not a failure. It is information. And that's where the work begins. Okay, definitely. I mean, I agree that working on your speaking brand is so important. So very important. But there comes a time where that work that you've done should actually bring value. It should be able to convert. I'm just saying. And drop a 1 in the comments if you ever felt like you're doing all the things but still not getting the traction that you want. Drop a 1 in the chat. You're applying, you're posting, you're networking, you're showing up, you're following up. And drop a 2 if you ever wondered, what am I missing? I know I can speak. I know I can add value. So why is this feeling harder than it should? Because that is the honest place where a lot of established speakers are sitting. They're not starting from scratch. They're not brand new. They have experience, they have stories, they have the expertise, but there's something behind the brand that's not connecting clearly enough yet. Just saying. So I do want to introduce you all to the speaker brand code. This is the first. Right now, this is the very first. Elaine, I was just mentioning you. Oh, yes, leadership and readiness. See, she put it there for me. I love that. See, Elaine, so amazing. You came to mind. So I do want to introduce you to the speaker brand code. The speaker brand code in my opinion, is this should be the standard at which speakers should show up. And I got a whole code. There are 7 codes all together. This is how we as speakers should be showing up every single time. Like, there is no excuse. And so today, the speaker brand code number 1 that we're discussing, the first code, is clarity before visibility. Because what happens when you get all this visibility and then the clarity isn't there? And it's like, oh my gosh, oh, that could be just such a waste of time. But that is why clarity before visibility is one of the first principles, because clarity has to come first. Not because visibility is bad, but because visibility should reinforce something. It should reinforce your position. It should reinforce your message. It should reinforce your value. It should reinforce the trust you are trying to build. If people see you more, but still cannot understand you better, then visibility alone is not doing the job. And I do not want talented speakers exhausting themselves trying to be everywhere before they are clear on what they want to be known for. So that's why I created the booked, paid, and positioned intensive. Because this intensive is not for people who are just deciding they want to become a speaker. This is for speakers who are already speaking, already showing up, already doing the work, but they know that there's another level available. You'll see that right there on the website. So inside this 3-day intensive, it starts next week. And we'll have the replay. If there's a certain day or time you can't make, there'll be a replay and you'll get follow-up summaries of what we covered. But inside the intensive, we're going to slow down and look at the business behind your speaker brand. Not just the stage, not just the talk, not just the content, but the positioning, the assets, the readiness for the opportunities that you say that you want. The strategy and the clarity that helps buyers to understand and trust you. And on day 1, which is next Thursday, we are starting with preparation before opportunity. And the question that we're answering is, what do you want to be known for? And is your speaking business supporting that? Because that question matters. What do you want to be known for? And is your speaking business supporting that? And the question matters because you cannot keep building around opportunities if you are not clear on the position what those opportunities should support. And I'll say that again. What do you want to be known for? So if you're like, I want to be known for helping children under 12 do better with their confidence going through cancer. Is my speaking business supporting that? And I'll say this again, you cannot build around opportunities if you are not clear on the position those opportunities should support. So you got to have goals. Okay. I see you guys in the chat. It's so good to see you guys here. Now I'll say this. So if today's conversation is making you think, okay, I need to get clearer, I want you to join us. Booked, paid, and positioned. It's happening August 20th, 21st, and my grandfather's birthday on the 22nd. So when you register, you're going to receive the speaker brand audit so you can begin looking at what is clear for me, what is missing in my speaking business, and what needs to be strengthened before we even start. So I'm going to make sure that the link is in the caption or comments, and let me make sure I can pull it up over here. I got so many screens, y'all. But I'll drop it here in the chat. So if you're interested in like, oh, I need this, I'm going to make sure that you have the link. So I'll drop that here in the chat. Hayim, people don't fail. They do something that doesn't work. Okay, people don't fail. They do something that doesn't work. Oh, I know that's right. So I just dropped the link in the chat. And let me make sure. Okay, yep, I dropped the link in the chat, and I'll also make sure that it's here so that if you are interested in joining us, hurry up and get your tickets, and also know that we only have limited seats for VIP. So if you want to get into the hot seat and say, Lena, look at my specific speaking brand, we need to talk about it, we'll be able to do that and do some hot seats. But the speaker brand audit that will help you to really say, okay, here's my brand. Okay, I have a team, I got some systems, but the financial part, I need to get more clear on. Okay, because you do not need to keep chasing your way into the next level. You need to just get clear on what you want to be known for and make sure that the business behind your speaking brand is actually supporting that. So before I go, drop it in the comments, clarity before visibility, because that's today's code. And if this conversation helped you, make sure to share it with another speaker who is doing all the things, but still wondering why the right opportunities are not connecting yet. So thank you guys so much for having lunch with me today. I'm really going to actually just go eat before I have the rest of my long day today. Because before you pitch another stage, answer this question. We're not going to talk about why your positioning has to be clear before your promotion can actually work. Like, that's going to be next week. That's going to be next week. Before you pitch another stage, answer this. So next week, we're going to talk about why your positioning, it has to be clear before your promotion, before you get the opportunity. Before all of that can actually work, we need to talk about your positioning. So I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day. I hope this information is resonating with you. I hope that this was thoughtful and, making sure you're wrapping your mind around why clarity is so important, and making sure that every single post, every single time you connect with someone, every time you have a lunch date or a Zoom coffee chat. A lot of people are doing these Zoom lunches or brunches, coffee chats, but those things are actually helping you move the needle in your business. You're not just having coffee chats to see, you have this opportunity or a stage, like, tell me about it. Like, how do you fit into their opportunity? How do you add value? And there's a couple of bonus questions that I really personally, from my heart, if there's a stage that you want to be on, hey, Paul, make sure, Paul, make sure to DM me. If there's a stage you want to be on, I would highly suggest that you attend, take notes. Because this is the other thing. We always feel like we need to be on stage. Sometimes attending the event, if those are your ideal clients and your ideal audience, being or not being the speaker actually allows you to have time to connect with people and your ideal people. Why not? Why not? Oh, you don't see the link? Okay. Let me see if I can drop it. Well, it's so if you're on LinkedIn, and Elaine, you are on LinkedIn, it's within the description of this conversation, but I'll also put it in the comments there so you guys can see it. But when I tell you guys, oh my gosh, I am for the speaker. If you can't tell that I get excited about those that have a story, who want to create impact, that there has to be a strategy, there must be a plan, there has to be some goals, and there has to be a way to actually organize all of that. But even if you're at an event and you're not the speaker, there's so many more opportunities that you can have that the speaker doesn't have time for. They're prepping. Sometimes they're swamped with people. So by you saying, you know what, I'm going to attend the actual event that I want to speak at. I'm going to take notes, what went well. Would love to share that feedback and my thoughts and how I could add value. You should be doing research. Who were their past speakers? All of that is so relevant. And when we get into the intensive, we'll talk about the research that has to be done. We'll also there's some live applications of events that are looking for speakers. So we'll take a look at what are they looking for, especially paid opportunities. So if you're looking for paid opportunities, during our intensive next week, we'll actually go through some of the live opportunities. And if it's something that fits you and that's something that, actually this stage would be an opportunity for me to add value, you can go ahead and apply. But at least seeing what, especially for paid opportunities, they're asking a lot of certain questions that you have to know that every time you drop your speaker reel or your website and all of that, those all have to be speaking the same thing. It has to be consistent. And not, when I say consistent, I'm not talking about your brand colors, okay? So next week is the intensive. We're going to have such a really good time. You're going to be able to walk away clear clear about what is it that I need to personally work on in my speaking brand. Because you don't have to work on all the things. There might be just one thing, one conversation, one connection, one thing that you need to work on for the next 2 months. Because I'll let you know this, they are looking for speakers right now for Q2. And if you don't know what Q2 is, that's June, okay? So this is something that you have to do in the long game. This takes time. You have to nurture relationships. You have to know who is signing the checks. You have to actually reach out, connect, and stay connected. So I'll challenge you to continue to do that in your speaking brand. And if there's anything that I can do, no, I'm not even going to say that. You need to come to the intensive. I love to give, as you can see, I love to give information, value, knowledge. But the best way to get my eyes on your business, you definitely want to just make sure to sign up for the intensive. Yes, you just confirmed my plan to attend an event here in Atlanta where my clients are. Absolutely. I tell you, think about this. When you apply, I can never shut up about this. Let me drink some water first. When you either apply to speak or you reach out to the event organizer about speaking on a particular stage, there's something about that you've attended before that changes the conversation versus, oh yeah, I would love to be a speaker on your stage. Don't know anything about your brand, but I'll do all that research later. And you know what? Somebody told me yesterday, I love this so much, that sometimes we're thinking about certain events to be a part of or on the stage, and there's other different opportunities that you could be thinking about that have your ideal clients that may not be the stage name that you automatically are thinking of. This person, she's a photographer, but she went to she's a speaker and she speaks on taking images and pictures of one's brand and making sure that it can communicate via pictures, right? Images. And she went to a chiropractic, some type of chiropractor kind of type of event. And I'm like, well, what made you? She's like, there's people there that own their own businesses. They too have to communicate their message, their brand. And it's like, sometimes we may have in our mind who our clients are. And if we pigeonhole them and think that they're only this versus, no, there's actually a lot of different people. And for Elaine, for example, when you think about hospitality and hotels and leadership and those who want to be like having an executive leadership coach, like she's your person. So as you continue to think about what value do you add in what industry, think about like, okay, this is where I think my people are, but it might be a lot bigger than you think. Might be a lot bigger than you think. Shannon, I look forward to you being there for the intensive next week. Oh my goodness. Oh, that is so awesome. Shannon, I wonder, Shannon, Elaine, do you guys know each other? And if not, I definitely would love to make that connection because you guys are two beautiful, dope people. So you guys have an amazing rest of your day, because I do need to make sure that in these last few minutes that I do eat some food. But you guys have been so awesome, and all the DMs and the love and sharing the videos and showing up and commenting, I really, truly appreciate it. So even if you're watching the replay, let me know and drop your comments in here. Take care. God bless you guys. Yay, that was so fun.